gentlemen, start your engines.
Faster than a bullet, hot from a gun. Well, who is he? Some other son. People stare. Yes, he's aware. Well, he's a superstar. Most everywhere.
These cars, they are cars, may be the fastest road-going machines in the world. They'll never take anybody anywhere. They'll never go from one place to another. They'll just travel around in tight little circles. Racetracks in Europe, America, all over the world. There are maybe 50 men in the world, maybe not that many, who can drive cars like these as fast and as well as they can be driven. When these men get together to find out which of them is fastest, the event is called a Grand Prix race. Grand Prix, grand prize. An event in the World Championship for drivers. The race itself lasts, 2 hours. The event, though, covers 3 days. Now, the first day, the cars and the drivers arrive and begin to practice. The second day, practice becomes more intense. The third day, the race is held. Simple enough, 3 days, one by one. Except that on any one of these days, whenever a man gets into one of these machines, something can go wrong. Even the best driver's concentration can slip just for a second. Or, what's more likely, any one of 100 parts on this machine can break or foul. So these 3 days go by like the best circus or the loudest spectacle ever. And then, suddenly, in a moment no one could foretell, but everyone knew was possible, a car gets into trouble, and a man is cracked like a nut or burned to death in seconds. After this happens, the drivers go on practicing or racing until the contest is over and there's a winner. And then they go on to another race. But during those 3 days, the human capacity for excellence, for ingenuity, for callousness, for vulgarity, for sheer noise, for waste, for daring, for beauty. Those capacities are stretched about as far as they can go, outside of war.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Keep coming, keep coming. Come on. Oh, that's splendid. Nice you are, nice you are. Yeah, looking good. They're going to clear that table? Yeah, you're right. Touch your leg. Left hand down a bit. Steady. Right.
Ingenuity. It's not just that a Grand Prix car is fast, though it is very fast. It's that it's quick, responsive, agile, able to dart and dodge like a fish in water. The driver throws the gear lever an inch or so, and the gear assembly instantly reins in the engine. A touch on the accelerator commands carburetors, valves, pistons, sparks. Fuel and air mix violently under high compression, and the power moves through transmission, the limited spin differential, the suspension, and down to the wheels. Suspension geometries, force vectors, aerodynamics, it's all metal, bits and pieces of metal and fiberglass. But the temptation is to think it's not metal at all, but some thoroughbred animal with a soul of its own, brought to life at the track by a team of sorcerers' apprentices called mechanics.
Lars-Ove Berglund och Erling Johansson till informationen. Lars-Ove Berglund.
Already, morning day one, before the cars are even ready for practice, the advertising circus is in full swing.
I made an envelope with 3 of them. Good. Good luck. You're sticky people. How do you spell that? S-I-C-L-I. If you want to get in touch with them, you can... Yeah, I thought that was it.
Outside his car, a Grand Prix driver is the hub of a business, which is like no business but show business. He's in the central ring of a three-ring circus, and the people who call out to him and gather round him know that he's the star, even if half of them aren't sure what his name is. It's silly to say that drivers should be above all the publicity hoopla. Racing is incredibly expensive, and nobody could compete without a sponsorship. Cosmetics, cigarettes, Argentine meat, or Brazilian coffee, it doesn't matter. As long as the corporate barons get a driver into a competitive car and let him do his job, which is to race, he'll gladly wear their colors on his shield like a medieval knight and go forth to do battle for them.
Okay, by the way.
straight on every track, there's a line, a way in and a way out that's the fastest for you and your car. Finding it takes time, hard work, a special kind of sensitivity, which is why there are a lot of brave boys around who can go fast, but who'll never compete in Grand Prix.
Tell me about your education as a driver.
Well, I think it's very simple. Jackie did all my education, Jackie Stewart. When I arrived in the team, in the 12 team, I had just done 2 years of Formula 3, which is nothing for education, as far as education is concerned. And a year of Formula 2, and then I get into Formula 1. So in fact, I was what you could call a mad driver. I was driving like hell. I was not thinking enough to what I was doing. And Jackie stopped all that and teach me how you must analyze a car, how you must think when you are driving, what kind of vision you must have. He did all my education.
At the beginning of 1968, Honda, the people I was riding for, they said that they were packing up racing. And at the time they told me this, there was nowhere else to go. All the other factories had signed up their riders. And so, really, I thought it was a sort of opportune time to quit and try something else of a similar nature. And so I started car racing, and also I was fed up with bike racing. You know, I'd been doing it for 12, 13 years, and I think that's quite long enough to have been doing anything. I'd done everything that I could possibly do. I'd won the World Championship and all the races that I could possibly have won. And I'd made really enough money to retire.
And when I started the sport, it was a hobby. I was doing amateur racing while holding down a job, and then I got so enthusiastic about it, I was willing to give up everything else in order to pursue a racing career, just to see how far I could go and how good I could become. And you might say I created a monster, because now it's my whole life. It takes so much of my time that I really don't have that much time for anything else. I mean, for the balance that I could foresee then, being a professional race driver, I don't have. I'm a professional race driver all the time, it seems.
Jackie is still the maestro for me, because he's the only man, maybe in the world, to be able to do a whole Grand Prix of 90 laps, 2 hours racing, without making one mistake.
But then you say...
But I think I am on one lap, I am now as fast as Jackie.
What does that mean? What do you have to do to beat him?
Not to make any mistakes.
How does that come?
Experience, concentration, and also being able to set your car so well that it will be the easiest car to drive in the race. And Jackie is so good in analyzing the car. He's reading the car so well that when the flag drops, he has always a very easy car to drive. He doesn't have to fight with his car because the car is not going around the corner very well, so he has to fight. Never. Jackie always managed to fix his car such a way that it would be very easy to drive.
The Nurburgring's a very special place. You know, in the Nurburgring you've got problems that never do exist in any other racetrack in the world. First of all, it's 14.7 miles round. It used to have 187 corners per lap. You know, there's left-handers, right-handers, you're going uphill, you're going down dale. It's really compromise the whole thing as far as the car is concerned, and to some extent also the driver, because every lap I do at the Nurburgring, I make a mistake. I never go through the Nurburgring feeling that I've achieved something in the way of the perfect lap. Half the places around the Nurburgring, I think if I were to walk round them, I would be horrified. I would never drive round the place again. So the faster you drive round the ring, the less you know, and maybe that's the best thing to do. At the Nurburgring, rain is a problem because the racetrack is 14.5 miles long, as I said. You're coming round lovely dry weather conditions. The track is dry, the conditions are good. Suddenly, you enter an area that's had a shower of rain, or it's in a wood, and the track has never dried out properly. Now, this is a hazard at the Nurburgring. It's a hazard in any long circuit. But the Nurburgring is made up with a conglomerate of different road surfaces. They're not all the same. Some hold the water, and some, of course, dry out very easily. So the driver has to be more aware of what's coming ahead of him than perhaps in any other racetrack in the world. Here you have an easy situation. Suddenly we've come into wet roads again out of what was very dry. Now you've got to do this one right, because it's followed immediately by another left-hand bend, and if you don't get the car in the right place on the road, this is where you can easily make a mistake. There's a lot of cars have gone off. Now a car's gone off on the inside here. He looks more like he's had a mechanical failure than a crash. I think you'll find, maybe he's had a bump too. He's had, I think, a mechanical failure, probably an engine problem. Now here we're through this left and right section here, and we go into a very late braking condition at the bottom of this hill. You come over here and you sort of see this corner. This is why you've got to have an excellent memory for the Nürburgring to recognize exactly where you are. Because not only have you to know the geography of the racetrack, but you've got to remember the road surface. And here is a place that holds water. So you come down here, accelerate out, try not to go on the dirt because you can pick up a puncture. There's a little river runs across the road there as well, so you've got to remember that. You're approaching the famous carousel, and if you look forward, you see the high fir tree. Now, we aim the car at that high fir tree, and if I put this car on the line for the fir tree, I go exactly into the bowl of the carousel. And there you are, into this bowl. It's a second gear corner. You're accelerating round this corner, not too fast, but still accelerating round, and out you come. The car lifts itself out the bowl, and if you do it properly, it's clean, it's fine, and you haven't got a problem. If you come out too early, the car will just fly straight over to the barrier. Now here we go into what is a very fast part of the circuit. We've got this situation coming out here in third gear, accelerating hard, going into fourth gear. And now we approach a thing called the Flugplaza. And this Flugplaza is where the first jump of the Nürburgring comes in. Now the car gets light over this little bump, you put it into fifth gear, top gear mark you, going round here. You're accelerating hard, and this is a gamble, whether you change into fourth gear just before here or keep it in fifth, because just here the car takes off and you fly over this. You arrive on the ground again with not much room to start getting the car nicely balanced and sorted out for the start of a very fast section, fastest part in the circuit with the main straight. You're going through here in fourth or fifth gear, you're climbing, it's quite a climb, so the car's really working hard. You're getting to the top of this rise here. Now, of course, there's been many accidents up here. There was a driver killed here a couple of years ago because you're going down this next section around 175 miles an hour. Doesn't look like it. When you see this here, you think it's a very short straight. This section here is taken at 175 miles an hour. You're in top gear, of course. And you go over this rise. Again, the car gets light as you go over the rise. It's up in the air. You've got to settle the car down again because the Nurburgring is never level. And you go into this left-hander. Now, I take this in top gear. I keep it in top gear, which is 5th gear. Now, look at this, a Nurburgring Classic. You come out of a semi-dry road condition, straight into a change of surface, and now this surface holds rain. Terribly slippery. And here you've got a hard braking corner. You're in 3rd gear. It's faster than you think, in fact. You go through here into what they call the foxhole. The foxhole used to be one of the most dangerous parts of the circuit, and they certainly have cleared it up a lot by putting barrier most of the way down. But again, you achieve your maximum speed on this whole circuit again down this section. And this also is hard to believe. Here you see yourself going through what is really a cutting in a heavily valleyed area with trees. Now, can you think of going down here at 175, where the car bottoms out in the bottom, it graunches the suspension, the chassis really gets gouged, and you start going up this other end here. Now, when you go up this hill, at the bottom here, if you look up the hill here, you're going up here with so much G-forces on that you can't take your foot really properly off the throttle and get it onto the brake. Just as you hit this corner, I stick it into 4th gear. Drive it.
Racing is a matter of rhythms. And sometimes the rhythms are wrong, and you're fighting the car, you're fighting the track, fighting yourself.
Yeah. Can you see it sometimes going past here? It gets in a terrible pitching, but which is doing it around all the corners, you know.
Yeah, I think that's part of the dampers.
Yeah. But it goes, you know, it's back to the old trouble of it goes oversteer and understeer. And as soon as you take your foot off the throttle, back in again, and then it oversteers, and then you put your foot on the throttle and it. I seem to be quite down on brakes again. The brakes have gone for a bloody butt.
Make a list with Mike White still pushing his mind.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it back.
Shall I drive it back?
Well, does it drive?
Yeah, oh yeah, it drives. Okay, what do you want to change? Good, it doesn't, you've got a good hard pedal and it stops, is that right? Yes.
There are other times, though, when the rhythms are right, and it's just you and the car, the track and the conditions, and a complex harmony of rhythm and response, and you're driving at your far limit, yet completely in control.
But one day I realized that it could happen to me. In Monza, 1970, the Italian Grand Prix. On the Friday, in the practice, I spin the car at 200 miles an hour. I spin the car and spin and spin and spin. Finally, I stop. I did not hit anything. Drove back to the pits with all square tires, you see, because the rubber has been taken off. And I laugh about it. I tell all my friends, oh, Christ, I spun the car 200 miles an hour, fantastic, very funny and so on. And next day, the Saturday, official practice, I was still driving, trying to get a good qualifying time. And 200 yards ahead of me, Joren Rindt get killed at 80 miles an hour in Courbe Ascari, very fast corner. Hit the guardrail. Guardrail was badly fixed, and he get killed. And I couldn't sleep the night before the race. I realized that the previous day I should have been killed.
You want to know about the accident, I suppose?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we were into the third lap and I was following Charlton and Reutemann. Charlton lost it on the first corner and I hit him and consequently spun and stalled in the middle of the track. Regazzoni came round, hit my car, and the whole lot burst into flames and we disappeared off to the edge of the track, all in flames. And I pressed my fire extinguisher, put my fire out, got out of my car and looked across, and Rega was unconscious in the car. So I went over and undid his seatbelts and tried to pull him out.
You went through the fire to pull him out?
Yeah, I was sitting in the fire.
Was it a big fire?
Yeah, fairly big. And I couldn't get him out because his legs were trapped by the car, which was squashed up. And then my clothing caught fire because the petrol was leaking out of his tank. And I went away. And then they got the fire out. And he was still sitting in there, unconscious. And then the fire went off again. So I went back in again and helped pull him out with the help of a marshal. It scared me that that sort of thing could happen, you know.
There's not too many other people in the world who experience the same things and that we're able to talk to.
Can you talk about those things?
Sure.
To each other?
Yeah, we talk about our experiences on the racetrack and what a car does at 180 miles an hour. The only way you can talk about this is with another race driver, you know, intelligently, as far as we're concerned. I mean,
Well, for
hopefully,
example,
we want to get a little feedback. We want to compare notes. So, in order to do this, we make superficial friendships. But I would say away from the racetrack, there are very few of us that are close to one another.
Why is that?
Because we're all rivals. We're all out to beat each other. This is the contradiction.
Do you think that happens socially? I mean, in a party, do you find yourself competing?
Well, I don't know. But I think there's a certain tenseness. And I think, like I say, at parties, we're all good acquaintances. We all know each other to a certain extent, and we're able to get along with each other at a party. But I'm saying away from the racetrack, away from on a social event that is connected with a race event, I don't think you'd see too many of us together. Racing you can only do once a week. There's ways you can compete financially where you can get at it every day.
But the whole lifestyle of being a racing driver, the travel, the independence, don't you simply get very lonely sometimes?
Oh, I do. Absolutely.
I mean, isn't this one of the occupational diseases, in effect?
Right.
What do you do
Particularly
with
with me, because going back and forth all the time, it is. It can be a very lonely life. And that's one of the sacrifices, which is an emotional sacrifice.
Fine. If you're making an emotional sacrifice here, what is the emotional gain there?
Well, it's attaining one's goal, satisfaction, gratification. The financial reward.
Because, I've got nothing in common at all with the other drivers. Even if they were staying in the same hotel, they'd sit at separate tables. And B, the guys that I have got something in common with, like the mechanics, you know, who are really a great bunch of guys, and I'm more in sort of touch with them than anybody else. They're always working. But even when they're not working, you know, they think that I think I'm a bit of a snob, and they can't really let themselves go, nor can I. So, you know, like you say, it's generally a pretty lonely sort of deal.
But I'm never alone. There's always somebody in my bed.
They travel all night to camp out in the pine woods, just beneath the ancient castle at Nurburgring. They fill up tattered old Montjuic Park in Barcelona, and the brand new grandstands at Anderstorp in Sweden, and Paul Ricard in France. They broil in the sun at Sao Paulo and Kyalami, shiver in the rain at Zandvoort and Silverstone, go mad at Monza and Watkins Glen. At 15 races in 15 countries, some 2 million people come to watch the championship decided. $350,000 people clog the Autobahn to get to the Nurburgring for the running of the Grosser Preis von Deutschland, or at least be nearby. Most of them can only glimpse the cars as they roar by every 8 minutes, but they're there anyway, within sound of the engines. And that seems to be enough. In the old city of Monte Carlo, the Grand Prix de Monaco unwinds through the twisting streets of the city itself. The balconies of the grand hotels and the windows of the houses and pensions along the way become grandstands. It's the season's premier social event, sanctioned by royalty. This stupendous press on race morning is a sort of race in itself. There are no rules. Any means goes. You could call it the Grand Prix of getting there. Grand Prix, the sport of aristocrats. Well, that depends on where you stand and which way you look. Europeans have always been crazy about motor racing. The South Americans are even crazier about it. The Americans are just crazy.
What's the idea with the flower and the cannon?
Cops give me too much hassle, being pointed at the traffic.
You know that's racing sponsored by the Navy?
No, I did.
I hope the shadow wins. Hey!
You work for Bud?
No, I'm just another nut up at the Glen, and I love it. I love it. Hey, hey!
Are you a racing fan?
I'm a racing fan. This is my 6th year in a row for the Grand Prix.
You guys, what is that jumbo thing sitting out there?
See that trophy? Yeah, I got a fart in my microphone. Want to win it. I want to try that. I caught pneumonia like rookie. That's electric.
Go ahead, get under there.
Angelo! There's another one on the floor.
it's a very big physical effort than to drive Formula One. For many reasons, because steering is hard, the brake pedal is hard, the clutch pedal is very hard, and your muscle have to work a lot to be able to move all those things, and the gear lever also is hard. But the biggest effort you have to do is to fight against the G-force, and that is just amazing. People do not realize that in a Formula One today, you get 2 Gs for a whole Grand Prix. Longitudinal Gs when you accelerate or when you brake, and lateral Gs when you go through corners. Just to fight against that, just think that your head is the heaviest part of your body. You have a helmet on it, which is heavy, and then you have to keep your head at its normal place. You have to fight for that for 2 hours. Same for your legs, same for your whole body. You know the amount of weight you lose in a Grand Prix? In just one Grand Prix, average, you know, I'm thin, I have no fat to lose. I lose 3 kilos in a Grand Prix, only of water.
Somebody asked Francois Sever what he thinks about when he can't sleep. He said, "I always fall asleep immediately." Somebody else tried hard to pry into his deepest feelings about danger, himself, his craft. "Why do you ask me these things?" he said. "I'm an athlete. I don't think about those things." On race morning, Sever puts on double layers of fireproof Nomex underwear, a driving suit that can withstand a minute or so of burning gasoline, thin-soled driving shoes. He is an athlete, not a philosopher, or a challenger of human limits, or symbol of triumph over fear and danger, but simply a man in the uniform of a trade, a man more in touch with his body and his senses than most. But to the thousands who line the edges of the world's Grand Prix tracks, they are more. Something between movie stars and knights in armor.
Elles sont bons, hein? C'est un message d'une belle Suédoise. Ah, Vera Multung, numéro de téléphone et tout. Pas tout le monde, tous les pilotes.
At last, they shut out the crowd with earplugs, cover their faces with fireproof masks, draw on the thick gloves, close themselves up within high-impact padded helmets, and lower their visors. Alone, deeply anonymous. Some process of centering must go on within them now, by which they make themselves, as far as possible, machines, as quick, as precise, as invulnerable.
Jones or we. It's a gamble, it's walking the line. If you get home, well, Lord, you provide. Burning wheels, engine screams. Hey man, how do you feel? You and your mechanical dream. Well, tell me now, are you really, really real? Hey man, what's your game? Arithmetic or change? Hey, why? You do what you do. Oh, maybe there's a challenge somewhere in stopping you. Hey man, what's your game? Arithmetic and a change. Play with death. Hey, life for you ain't nothing but a constant test. It's a challenge, precision and skill. I hope you make it, 'cause I'm sure you will. Change gears, accelerate. One man, just play the bass. You and your both will make it. I hope you make it. Hope you ain't never late. Hey man, what's your game? Arithmetic and a change. Hey, why? You do what you do. Or maybe there's a challenge in stopping you. Hey man, what's your game? Arithmetic and a change.
realizado para todos ustedes el programa oficial.
Now, watch it again.
Je sais pas, il s'est accroché en tête et puis...
I've watched motor racing and never seen anything like it. Second lap, this wreckage is Jody Schechter's car. Jody Schechter, the young boy who we fortunately saw leaping out of the car. But look, every wheel is off, the front wheel is integrated, the engine we can't see because bodywork, and it's still saying for...
There's no more likely time for crashes to happen than on the first lap. Everybody's bunched up, trying to get an advantage. A young driver in the third row, desperate to take on the leaders, sees a chance. He throws himself into the turn, gets wide, wider, loses control, with everybody screaming down right behind him. He said later, I made a mistake. A little addition. Chassis each, $25,000. Engines each, $18,000, plus about the same amount in modifications. 2 days practice at, say, $1,000 a day per car. One team, 3 cars, completely lost. Another 4 or 5 have to be thrown away as well. Not counting transportation or rebuilding, figure $500,000 lost in just about the time it takes to sail. But the amazing thing is that in all that ear-splitting, out-of-control melee, one driver suffered a broken ankle, and that's all. The money? Well, there's lots more where that came from. And as for the race, well, you just line everybody up who's left and start again. something goes wrong with the car and you're forced to go into the pits, the mechanics can't perform miracles. They can change a tire in about 30 seconds, replace a foul plug in 35. But it doesn't matter. You pull into the pits in first place, and half a minute later you drive out far behind. Then the miracles are all up to you.
Because I prefer a thrilling life. I enjoy. You know the fantastic thing, I think every man in the world is looking for that, is to make from his passion his business. That's what I have done. I had passion for motor racing and it's my business. Cannot be more happy. Everything I do about motor racing, I enjoy it. Anything, because it is my passion.
After that happened, they went on racing until there was a winner. And then they went on to another race.
Will you come and be introduced to His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, who is graciously presenting the trophies today. Peter Revson, where is he?
It starts maybe when a man learns he's one of the few people whose reflexes actually get quicker under pressure. He learns that going 175 miles an hour doesn't seem all that fast, not uncontrollable. He learns he can live with the boredom, the isolation, the rootlessness, in exchange for a few moments of sheer joy. In the end, he finds his egotism is justified. He is one of the best.
The Minister of Transport? Okay, so you know it is a big problem.
Der Präsident des Automobilclubs von Deutschland, Fürst Metternich, hat nun den Sieger Jackie Stewart zum Podium geleitet. François Seher, sein Teamgefährte, etwas größer gewachsen, waren sowieso drin. Ich sage nur, der Leiter ist Jackie Stewart und François Seher. Und jetzt kommt Jackie X dazu, Jackie X in den blauen Rückkehr. Overall besonders gut scheidet er sich und Laurens Sauritzen, unser Bundesverkehrsminister, mitmachen und Kreuzen Kapitel sitzen. In der blauen Jacke, Jackie X, in der Mitte, Jackie Stewart,
Jackie Stewart, the winner, sitting in the middle. On his left